So the Labour councillor Ricky Jones has just been found not guilty of inciting violence, even though there clearly is a clip of him saying that patriots should have their throats cut.
They are disgusting, nasty bastards, and we need to cut all their throats and get rid of them all.
Now, some people are saying that this is an example of a two-tier justice system, and they're comparing his case to the case of Lucy Connolly. And, you know, she said that asylum seeker hotels should be burnt down, and then she deleted the tweet 3 hours later. And, you know, there certainly is some truth to that. But there are differences between the two cases. The first difference is that Lucy Connolly pleaded guilty. Now, she pleaded guilty because she was advised that she would get a lesser sentence if she did. Now, if she truly believed that she was innocent, which I think she was, I don't think... Look, you can't say that Ricky Jones was just being metaphorical and that he didn't mean what he said, and then say that Lucy Connolly was dead serious, when I think she just said it in a moment of anger without actually thinking about what it meant. And if she pleaded not guilty, then perhaps the case would have been thrown out, because what the justice system will do is that they encourage people to plead guilty. I mean, people have a perception of the justice system being corrupt, and that's certainly true, but if you have a trial by jury, then you should be able to make your case to your peers. And if you just plead guilty because you're advised to, in the hopes that you'll get a lesser sentence, even if you know that what you did wasn't wrong, then obviously you're going to go to prison. Whereas Ricky Jones, he pleaded not guilty because, look, I don't think he actually wanted to cut off the throats of the protesters at the riots last year. It's not like he made any attempt at cutting their throats. The jury saw that he didn't make an attempt to cut their throats, so they found him not guilty, even though technically what he was saying was incitement. Now, there's another problem that people have to talk about, which is demographics. You know, Ricky Jones was the place where he said what he said, and the place where he was trialled. Both places are around 50-50 between British and foreign. And, you know, there have been studies that have shown that foreigners, when they're on a jury, will give lesser sentences to foreigners that are being tried. You know, the whole point of trial by jury is that it's your peers that are assessing whether or not you're guilty. But if it's foreigners that are on the jury, then it's not really your peers, is it? And I think that has to be talked about. I mean, you can't have a system where you're trialled by your peers when it's people that aren't British. I mean, we should restrict being in a jury to people that are British, because this is Britain. It should be British people. And when I say British, I don't mean anyone that has a piece of paper that makes them British. I mean anyone that has ancestry, has heritage to this land. That's what being British really is about. And it's been shown that judges and juries will go easier on foreigners, and that is a problem. Now, there is a lot of corruption in the police force, in the judiciary, which is why if you're posting stuff online, it's important to be careful. So, for example, do not post slurs on Twitter and so on, especially if you have a face open account. If it's anonymous, then you probably won't get in trouble, but you know, people with face open accounts, there's examples where they'll post their N-word online and they'll get fined, or they'll get community service, or they'll even go to prison, depending on the context in which you say it. And you know, that you don't want that to be you. It's just needless, right? And then you also need to not incite violence, right? Also because violence in of itself just doesn't get you what you want. I mean, for example, take climate change. Most people, unfortunately, think that climate change is a problem. That's just the reality of where we are. But the overwhelming majority of people really hate Just Stop Oil, because even though, unfortunately, they agree with what Just Stop Oil are saying, they disagree with what they're doing. And that is with non-violent direct action. People disagree with violent action even more. And if you incite violence, not only are you putting yourself in trouble because it is illegal, but if people do end up being violent, then you're just actually making things harder for the nationalist cause. So yeah, I'd highly recommend not inciting violence. Now, if you do end up getting arrested for anything that you say, from what I've read, the best course of action when you're being interviewed is to just not answer any of their questions. So just if you're being interviewed, just answer no comments to everything, and they'll probably let you go without being charged. But hey, it just depends. So I mean, that's just the reality of where we are. I mean, you had Sam Melia go to prison for 2 years for putting up stickers, when, you know, some of the stickers were correct, and it's, you know, that's a problem. Now, part of it is that, you know, putting up stickers just in public is illegal, but you shouldn't. There was an additional charge because of the content of the stickers, and that's silly, really, but you just got to be careful. Now, if you are face open, I would also recommend staying away from openly praising Adolf Hitler and the NSDAP and so on, because regardless of what you think of all that, it basically is illegal in this country. Whilst we technically don't have laws against Holocaust denial, we might as well. And look, you know, I accept the Holocaust, right, just to be clear, but some people don't. And yeah, there is an argument to be had about it, but now's just not the time to have it, especially with the laws that we have. I mean, there was people that had a celebration for Hitler's birthday and they ended up getting arrested for it, and that's stupid, but that's just where we are. We're just in a country now where you can't praise Hitler, and, you know, I'm not praising him, but if you do hold those views, then I would recommend just staying away from it, because it's stupid. Most people will never be convinced that Hitler was a good guy, because he wasn't, and it basically is illegal, so there's just no need for it. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.